What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a great one. Hope you're doing well. Today we are listening to MGMT. We're going to listen to this track off of their album Congratulations, released in 2010. This track would be Siberian Breaks. There we go. Had to pull it up. Siberian Breaks. This track had been recommended by Gablin23. So Gablin, thank you so much for the recommendation. I've never heard of MGMT. Don't know a thing about them. I do see that this track is clocking in at 12 minutes long, so we got a nice one to just go ahead and sit ourselves into, relax with, coming in at the middle of the album. I also just noticed, because I'm pulling up, I have the track listing up here, obviously. I love that the next song on here is titled Brian Eno. I love that. I would actually love to hear what that sounds like as well. But for now, let's concentrate on where we're at with Siberian Breaks. Hope you guys are having a lovely one out there. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We will talk about it a little bit after. Here we go. Nice and pleasant. That's got a sitar sound back there too as well. That chord change adds tension and drama as well. What kind of sound is that? Okay, well, there's a break for sure.
Balance the books, the ledges, the looms, the disappointing look on the faces that squint at the moon.
It's definitely got a Beatles-esque quality to it.
Let's see it with shadows enhanced, and then vote to decide who'll advance. Silver jet plane making a turn, exciting the brain that expects it to crash and then burn. It's not the life lesson I'd have guessed. If you're conscious, you must be depressed, or at least cynical. But someone might still eat the steaks, even if they're tough. Spending the day chewing the fat, floating away isn't rough.
I
It's
like the
not
way
enough.
the layers of progression I got in here. Keys.
Oh, Marianne, pass me the joint. The sandpaper's tan, go-getters are surfing the point. And London's a scratch on the lens. It's over before it begins. The silk round her neck falls down to her shoulders. The older I get, the more I suspect there's a trip.
I love the way he's singing here. It is so
But really, there's no trip at all.
The rhythm is very, very well done.
If it doesn't result in a fall or a faltering. like a wheel, but it's not a joke. Holding the light, clutching the phone, nobly wasting the night, but it isn't right. It's not right. Smelling for blood, praying for rain, running away isn't rough, but it's not enough.
This is kind of cool. I'm enjoying this. Has a lot of transitions, like harsh ones.
The low tide's telling me when it's over.
Jeez, that's a big old echo and reverb on that thing.
To breathe, everything exposed, and comes back to cover me with a blanket.
So heavy.
It's always changing too.
Jeez, that snare is like a gunshot. This is a really cool song. I like the directions it's taking us in. I love that. Are you guys having a good time listening to this? Because I feel like this is so interesting. I'm looking forward to like what's coming next. Like, yes, more and more and more.
If you find this so
See?
frozen in a starry void, take it within, hope for sad luck and no signs of life to return
Such a fuzzy, deep bass.
to the way that it was. Long before it made a noise, to keep on quietly reminding you what's never created or destroyed.
like an updated Tangerine Dream with new sequencers in there. So mechanical. All the sequences just like lapping on top of each other, just little by little. It's like a Venn diagram of music. Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. That was so fun to listen to. Listen, sometimes I don't know how I've ordered the videos in the past few days or whatever, because I always kind of mix things up. But like, this is what I needed. This is a great track. I am 100% interested in the band. I would love to hear some more from them. Is all their music like in this range where they're like kind of giving you a little bit of everything? Because a lot of this kind of sounds like 60s, 70s revitalism, kind of hitting towards those specific genres, but of course bringing it up into a modern day, even though this is, like I said, released in 2010, 15 years ago. Sorry, time moves quickly. But like, the style is wonderful to listen to. I love this. Before we get into it, one thing I want to address, because I know it's either in the back of someone's mind or perhaps there will be a comment. I don't know. But I always mention, especially with long songs, because they typically have transitions between parts and stuff. I always mention the transitions between pieces and parts of a song. And I love a good transition. I love when it flows and it just works, right? Here, most of the transitions that happen, pretty abrupt. They're pretty abrupt. But I think it works in here. I like what came before and what comes after. So I don't really care too much about the transition because I like both halves of that particular coin. Give me the coin, put the dime in my pocket, and you can nickel yourself out. Like, I love what happens in here. It's so exciting to listen to, from something a little bit more acoustic indie into something, like I said, getting much more electronic. It kind of reminds me, even though I've only listened to one album by the band from the band, it reminds me in some ways of Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robot's Flaming Lips. Just a little bit, in like this experimentation that they take with indie music, electronica, bringing in influence from other things and making it truly their own. I'm getting a lot of that. I would love to listen to some more from this band. I really want to listen to the track Brianina, just based off the name. I actually really just want to listen to that. But is the rest of this album like in this kind of similar vein? Like, if I like this a lot, which I do, would I enjoy the rest of the album? Because I thought this was fantastic. Also, something that I think is really worth noting is that when I'm looking at the personnel on this track, like Andrew Van Wingarden, which is great, is handling a lot. Ben Goldwasser is handling a lot. Like, it's a lot of talent in a few people. And I'm not, counting out the rest of the members as well. They're all creating this really wonderful tapestry of melody. I just think, like, for such a sound they've got, I think that they're well utilized in all that they're doing. The strings, for example, from Jillian Rivers, I think are just a beautiful golden light that shines upon this track in certain moments. I love the ending, which with that little bit of electronica section. I mean, I guess in a way you could say that that's the break of the track. I love that. And each of the moments in this track have several different like subtitles and stuff. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. The song is broken up into 8 different parts. And I love how unique it sounds. That's why I said, like, while we were listening, I'm looking forward to what's happening next because I'm noticing the changes. I'm saying, yes, give me more and more and more of that. I loved how that sounded, the direction of it. I love the singing in there. It was just a wonderful listen. Truly, it was just really, really wonderful to listen to. I like how in the beginning, let me pull it back up here really quick just for a brief moment. Like, we switched from something like... It's a great setup. It's a nice, bouncy, rhythmic kind of setup. It's a slow ascent from that point, but it's mellow. It gets you going, right? It's a great intro. And then it completely changes into like almost this Beatles-esque psychedelic journey at that particular moment, especially with that swing and the way that the music plays in that lull, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and the rhythm from the singer, from Andrew. I'm imagining he's going to be the lead vocalist here. I really love that part. And the transition between those two, for example, was pretty harsh. It was just like immediate. There was no foreshadow. And yet at the same time, there kind of was. I just didn't know because it's a first listen. And I just really, really enjoyed that. I love where this track goes. Like, you can click around every place and get something unique. This is so cool. What a really fantastic track. I would absolutely love to listen to some more. Let's look at these lyrics, though. So, obviously, like I said, you have different subtitles. Part 1, Direction of Truth, Part 1. Sleep as the goer, the bridge that watches the light speed through, and cries while the spirit stumbles, the inside missile for the protection of you. Maybe it's silent, the voice can't bear any more strain, but speaks without even knowing and streams outside in the direction of truth. So obviously this is talking about the direction of truth. Which way does truth progress? Hopefully truth always progresses in a sense forward. But if something's truth, does it really progress? Because it should always be. I don't know, man. Secrets to decode. There's no reason, there's no secrets to decode. If you can't save it, leave it dying in the road. Wide open arms can feel so cold, so cold. So I like how the secrets to decode, but there are no secrets to decode. And if you can't save it, to leave it then. The older I get. Balance the books, the ledges, the looms, the disappointed look on the faces that squint at the moon. Let's see it with shadows enhanced and then vote to decide who'll advance. Silver jet plane making a turn, exciting the brain that expects it to crash and then burn. Like when you're, you watch NASCAR, not hoping, but you watch it like, with a slight expectation, a slight excitement that maybe there'll be a crash or some sort. Of course, provided everyone's okay and unharmed. It's not the life lesson I'd have guessed. If you're conscious, you must be depressed, or at least cynical. If you're aware of things happening and you're paying attention, he says, if you're paying attention, you must be depressed or you must at least be cynical. But someone might still eat the steaks, even though they're tough. Spending the day chewing at the fat, floating away isn't rough, but it's not enough. Some people can still enjoy life despite those, perhaps, the cynical thoughts and negative aspects of life, but still it's not enough to quite get over it to an extent. Oh, Marianne, pass me the joints, of course, trying to escape those facts. The sandpaper's tan, go-getters are surfing the points, and London's a scratch on the lens, it's over before it begins. Silk round her neck falls down to her shoulders. The older I get, the more I suspect there's a trick. But really, there's no trip at all. That doesn't result in a fall or a faltering. So as he gains more experience, as he grows up, he suspects there's a trick to it all. But then he realizes there isn't. There is no trip to it all. There's, of course, a change of wording there between trick and trip. And he's saying that every trip, hold on. But really, there's no trip at all. That doesn't result in a fall or faltering. As I'm trying to interpret, I'm live interpreting. As you go through life, you experience different trips in your life. And these trips will, at the very least, result in a faltering, a misstep of you and who you are. But something could spit out the bait, even if it's real, rolling away, missing a spoke, close to the ground like a wheel. But it's not a joke. Holding the line, clutching the phone, nobly wasting the night, but it isn't right. It's not right. Smelling for blood, praying for rain, running away isn't rough, but it's not enough. You got to do more than run away. You got to face it. When it's over. The low tide is telling me when it's over to breathe in everything exposed and comes back to cover me with a blanket. Being here's always changing tunes. Of course, the waves going in and out just like breath does. And of course, the waves always come back to cover him like a blanket. So on one hand, when the tide leaves, he's exposed. When the tide comes back, it covers him like a blanket. And he says, being here is always changing tunes because the waves and the tides are always changing. Next, you have Secrets to the Code Part 2, which comes back. The empty sky surrounds me, but I can't tell it or I can't see it all. Wide open arms can feel so cold, and you sit beside me and tell me what it's worth, but I hope I die before I get sold. I'd rather die before I get sold. So he'd rather, of course, lose his life before he, in a sense, gets sold, or maybe perhaps sells his soul to something that he doesn't find worthy. The way that it was, if you find the soul that you've lost frozen in a starry void, take it within and hope the sight of blood can will signs of life to return. So now there's a hope here. Back to the way that it was long before it made a noise, to keep on quietly reminding you what's never created or destroyed. So what always remains is the question. Then, of course, direction of truth again. Wake as the swell peaks, referencing these waves again. The closeouts drowning the birds with roars. And howls scare the new unkindness that picks and laughs at the carrion scene. Forces you to breathe, or forces you see breathe, can always go into hiding and wait till it passes over, or stay far gone for all eternity. So perhaps the direction of truth is like those waves, always moving back and forward at the same time. They can blanket us, but also drown us, in a sense. And then the American Nightmare at the very end just sounds so good. Let's see. Looking at the Wikipedia for this particular track, it says it's the longest track on the album. It was released as a limited 12-inch blue marble vinyl. That's really cool. Van Wingarden has said of the song, it's kind of like 8 different songs strung together in one. And the general theme is about surfing in the Arctic Circle by Russia. I feel like he's simplifying. I feel like he's simplifying very much what it could be. But it also does work with the album cover. I mean, you clearly, the album cover right here. This also looks like a face. It has to be, yeah. It's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or something. See this background? Do you guys remember the old, like, Sonic games? This is the background in the old Sonic games. You don't believe me? Hold on, I gotta pull my thing back up. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Genesis. You don't believe me? What do you see? I know what I'm talking about. Bunch of squares. Anyways, really fantastic track. I loved listening to that. Yes, please. I would love to hear more from the band. If you guys enjoyed it as well. It always depends on that as well, but yeah, I had a great time with that. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments down below. Press the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't already. Patreon's there if you would like. $2 a month. You do not have to, but it's there. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being here, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.